Mary Kay, are you surprised by this move? And what do you think this means? Like, why do you think they did it?
I'm not super shocked about this move. I kind of had an idea that something like this might be coming. There were only a few things that they could do this offseason to kind of move their salary cap around and save some money without it being too painful for them. So therefore, when you look at Sheldon Richardson's contract, he only had $1.6 million in dead cap space, and his cap number was 13.6. So this move saved them $12 million in cap space. And again, when I say not too painful for them, I mean from a financial standpoint, that they only have to eat $1.6 million of this salary. And that is very significant. Now, did they want to keep Sheldon Richardson? Of course they would have wanted to keep Sheldon Richardson. He's been a really good player for them the last 2 years, but he did become somewhat expendable at that price when you bring on a Malik Jackson, when you have Andrew Billings coming back after opting out last season, when you have Jordan Elliott ready to take a step up in his third season. You also have a draft coming up. I mean, you could probably draft a defensive tackle somewhere along the line that you can get some good production out of, and you're not going to have to pay him $12 million. So really, he just kind of priced himself off the team. It is unfortunate, though, because he was a good player and he was a leader, and he ranked 37th in Pro Football Focus this year amongst defensive tackles. Players loved him. He was great in the media. He was the Dino Lucarelli good guy last year. He would stand at his locker when we had open locker room and just talk forever. And he was, very entertaining and insightful. And, he meant a lot to this team. So it's a loss from that standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, I can see why they had to do it.
Ellis, your thoughts?
We've been talking all offseason about the luxury items on this Browns roster, whether it's the two receivers or Sheldon Richardson. There are pieces that when you project this team forward into year 3, 4, and 5 of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, you realize there's pieces like that weren't going to be a part of this future. So we knew that this was coming. We just didn't know when. And it's the first domino in those luxurious items no longer being available to the Browns, because those extensions are looming. This team can extend Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Wyatt Teller. And those are things that one or two of those probably get done this offseason. This money now available allows them to take some of that cap and throw it into bonuses for extensions they do now. There's just, it makes sense. And from what we've seen Andrew Berry do in terms of wanting to stay flexible, not feeling like they're pinned in a corner, to take something he has said, have one foot in the present and one foot in the door of the future. That's exactly what this move is.
Yeah. I don't love the move, like from an on-field perspective. At the same time, though, I don't know that we're going to be sitting there on some Sunday during the season and saying, boy, this team really misses Sheldon Richardson. And I don't say that to diminish anything he's done. I think he's been probably consistently their second best defensive lineman in his time here. Olivier Vernon had some flashes here and there, and other guys certainly had flashes, but just over the course of his time, he played every game. I think that matters. He was a good guy in the locker room, like you mentioned, Mary Kay, and we all, you walk up and chat with him. It seemed like every position group gravitated to him in that locker room. I do think he's going to be missed. I think there's an element of, okay, you're banking on Andrew Billings coming back and being the player. We haven't seen Andrew Billings. I mean, let's be honest. We haven't seen him in this defense yet. We don't know what he's going to be. Jordan Elliott, didn't hear his name called a whole lot last year. Seemed to get some good playing time, though, so it seems to still be a guy they like. Malik Jackson was healthy last year, but still is kind of working back from that Liz Frank injury. So, we'll see. I don't love the move, but I also don't think it's going to be some devastating move. And I do feel like, and I just want your guys' opinions on this real quick. Is this sort of a future, like you can roll over this cap space now if you need to. So you've got the flexibility now, but you're also going to be able to roll that forward. Is this sort of Andrew Berry looking to the future and understanding that they're going to need kind of every dollar they can get at some point?
Yes, absolutely. And it's also, once again, in addition to that, you have a player who is 30 years old right now, making double digit millions. And when you look at that dead cap space and you see that it's very small and you have an opportunity to make a move there and just with one move, increase basically more than double your cap space is what they did with this move. Okay. They had less than $11 million in cap space earlier today. Now they have almost $23 million in cap space. So these are the kind of moves when you're doing roster building and you're looking at the overall way the cap is built. And you look first at where the dead cap space is very small. And you see that those are the places where you start to look in terms of what they might be thinking in terms of moves. Now, of course, another one that we've talked about a lot is Jarvis Landry. I mean, Jarvis Landry has a high salary and a small dead cap space. And that's one I think all season, a lot of us have wondered, wow, is something going to happen with him? I mean, he's going to be on the team. The only thing that I could see happening is maybe they would restructure that a little bit to bring that cap number down. I don't know if that's on the horizon or not right now, but these are the kinds of things that you look at when you're trying to manage the cap. And they do need every dollar that they can possibly get this offseason to be able to do the kinds of things that they might want to do. And now they have a little bit of money to play with. You also have to remember, they have to set aside about $9 million for their rookie pool. And that comes out of this $23 million. So they still now have some left to do what they want to do with it. But, you know, it was really more so than anything, just a strictly business financial move.